Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope that you people are doing well. Today I'm going to discuss with you our next part of the practical, and that practical I'm going to discuss with you a couple of things, starting with your questionnaire with the codes. So in the last class I showed you how to create a Google form, a questionnaire, and then collect the data. While the Google is doing its job and collecting data for you, your job is to create a questionnaire, the same items, the same questions. By the way, items means questions, the same items, the same questions, but give it a code. If you remember earlier, I told you, let's get to our questions. I told you that you need to have 3 questionnaires. You need to have a questionnaire with the references, which you people already have, and I already showed you how to do that. Then I told you to have a questionnaire where this questionnaire is for the respondents, this one, where you give it to the respondents if you are collecting data by yourself face to face, or you take this questionnaire and convert it into Google form from this questionnaire. And then you have another questionnaire, which is questionnaire for SPSS, or we also called it questionnaire with the codes. So today we have to go and finalize our codes, because the next thing after that I'm going to show you is the SPSS. So let's go and click on this to show it to you how to create codes. Well, you can have a reference and codes in one questionnaire, in one file, but it's better to have it separately. So this is the title, and then this is the demographic part. I call it, say, personal details. So my first demographic is gender, so I can call it PD1. I coded it as PD1, personal data, personal details 1. I can also code it as G1. I can also code it as D1, depending on whatever I want to code it. And that is why you need to have this part of the questionnaire, this set of the questionnaire as well, which is set 3 of the questionnaire. Why? Because you know what code you gave it to and you transferred it to SPSS, but say you have a collaboration somewhere internationally in another part of the world, and that collaborator wants to see your data, so you send your SPSS file, and this SPSS file is coded, and the person will have a hard time to convert those code and take out meaning from that. Now in this gender and age and marital status it is easy, but when we go to the more descriptive and detailed questions like this, which is fashion brands, social media pages I follow always meet my expectation, I coded it as CS1, which is customer satisfaction 1. Now in the SPSS it is CS1 or customer satisfaction 1. So if I send the SPSS file to someone, that person will see CS1 in the data analysis, and that would be difficult for the person to take meaning out of the CS1. So you need to have your codes with the questions with the code. So I want to see your questionnaire with all the items and variables, and then the codes that you have given to it. So for example, for customer satisfaction, I will code it CS1, CS2, CS3, CS4. Then suppose I have social media activity, so social media activities code as SMA1, SMA2. You can code it anything you want, because these codes will be transferred to the SPSS. So the thing that I want to see is your questionnaire with the codes that you have given for the SPSS software. Now let's go to SPSS and see how would we create this questionnaire in SPSS, and that is our task for today, to create this questionnaire, which is here with the codes in the form of SPSS sheet, because we are going to collect data here, but then we have to transfer this data into SPSS. So let's search for SPSS. It is IBM SPSS. Let me search for it. And this IBM SPSS, I click on it. When you click on IBM SPSS, there's the common window that you will see. Just wait for a second, let it process. It is processing depending on the speed of your computer. This is a heavy software, so sometimes it may take longer time depending on which SPSS you have. I told you, I suggest to have that you can download any version, but it's better to have a version which is 20 and above. Currently I'm using version 22 on this computer, so it is version 22 of SPSS, IBM SPSS. Download it. It is very important for you, because it is important to learn this software for your project and for your data analysis. So as you can see that it is loading. This is a common window that will open. You can have a new data set, or you can open a file from an existing. These are some of the things. Keep it as it is, cancel it. Now my focus is to show you this empty sheet. Now this is the first window that you see on the top. You can see that it does not have any name, untitled, so we have to save it. Remember that, we'll save it in a while. Then you see the common options for us, which is pretty common in almost all the Windows or Apple softwares, where you have multiple options to go through from file, edit, and so on. We'll come to that in a while. Then you have shortcuts for that, and then we have on the vertical the cases. We call it case numbers or column numbers, and then we have the variables, VAR. This view is called data view. This is a sheet where you will see your data, 1 2 1 2, whatever data you have. And then we have another view. If you come down on the lower left corner, you see variable view. This is where we create our questionnaire, and this is very, very important for you to understand. So we have data view, get used to that. We have data view show us our spreadsheet of data, and then we have variable views. On variable view we create what we want to create. For example, I would always create our first variable, which would be shown here. First variable here, it would be shown here. My first variable, I always want to give it number, so I call it number, or we call it ID. It is very important. Now I call it ID, automatically it generates something. These are the things that you want it to be numerical, comma, dot, whatever. We keep it as it is. Width is 8 decimal. I normally would keep it to 0. Then you label it. What is it? What do you mean by ID? These are the codes that are be given. So I would call it, for example, case identification. Now, why is case identification important? It may not be important when you're collecting data in the soft copy or using social media, but when you're collecting data using hard copies or face-to-face, this is very, very important for you to have ID. Why it is important? Because you're collecting data in hard copies, and once you collect the data, you need to label the data. You need to label each and every questionnaire. You need to give a number to each and every collected questionnaire, each and every piece. Why it is important, I'll tell you in a while. It's very, very important, by the way, that you do that. Remember that when you're collecting data in hard copy, every filled questionnaire should be given a number. It may be in the form of 1 2 3 or ABC, but ABC are only limited, so I would suggest you give it 1 2 3, because you can collect data in large quantities. Say suppose you're collecting 1000, so you have to have numbers. So I normally give it number, I call it ID, and I call it 1 2 3 4 5, whatever numbers are. We'll go to the data view and I will show you, and those numbers are very important for you, because the number here, which is here, you can see it, ID is higher. So suppose it is number 1, I'm referring to number 1 filled questionnaire. So suppose I have filled all the variables, which I'm going to show you in a while, and here there is a problem, here there is a mistake. But the mistake, how would I rectify the mistake? The first thing is to take out the questionnaire, the original questionnaire, from where I filled it. So if I did not put a ID number on it, it would be extremely difficult, rather impossible for me to search for that questionnaire which have a mistake here. Why? Because the questionnaires look exactly the same. So the only thing that distinguishes the cases is the case number or the ID number. So I would always start from ID number. These ID numbers, up to as many numbers, are the number of filled and completed questionnaires that I have received back from my respondents. So I had the first one is ID. I normally keep all to decimal 0, leave the rest as it is. Now let's go to our questionnaire. Our questionnaire have something which is called demographic variable, right? So demographic variable gender name is PD1. Now I would go, and in the variable view, pay attention, in the variable view, my second one is gender. Its name is PD1. What is it? I will keep it to 0 decimal, and I call it what? I call it gender. Now gender have some values. What do you mean by values? If you look at the questionnaire, gender has two values, male and female. Now SPSS do not understand what is male and what is female. You have to tell SPSS that when I key in a certain number, numerical, you should automatically understand that it is male, and if I key in a certain number, you should automatically understand it is female. So commonly we will call one as male and two as female. Let's code it there. So how do we do that? You click on these values and these three dots, you give it value 1, and value 1 should be male, and then add. Then value 2, and value 2 should be female, and then add. So I now told SPSS, by doing this, I told SPSS, I commanded to SPSS that whenever someone or I press 1 on this particular column of PD1, you should automatically understand that it is male. If I press 2 on this PD1 column, you should automatically understand that it is female. So once I'm done with this part, it is done. Now it is called coding. That is what we call it in SPSS, brief coding. Now measure, either it is a scale or nominal or ordinal. Now ordinal scale means that this the scale which is in proper order. For example, your age is in ordinal, is proper order. For example, it can be in income, it can be income, or it can be your education level as well. Then we have nominal, and nominal is a scale which is which cannot be categorized. For example, gender cannot be categorized, names cannot be categorized. So if you don't understand any of these, the best is to choose scale. So for the rest, we are going to choose scales as well. Here nothing was important because it was number. I will choose scale, but gender we normally use nominal for it, right? But you can choose scale as well. SPSS will, scale is the highest level in simple words. Scale is the highest level. So I've already coded PD1. If I come here, I would see that PD1 is already there. Now every time I press 1 here from the questionnaire, SPSS will consider this one as male. Every time I press 2 here, SPSS will know that I'm talking about female. So this is what I coded. Let's go and check some other. Now we have age. Age is PD2, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. So you can see it's an ordinal scale, but you can make it a scale as well. Age, we call it PD2. So I go there again and I make it PD2. I'm not going to do all of them. Convert it to 0 decimals. What do you call it? This PD2 is age. Now this is also important to fill this label completely, because again, if you send this questionnaire, this file to someone with everything filled up, the person will somehow get an idea that age is coded as PD2. Now values, what values can we give? Now we go back to our questionnaire and check that. We see that less than 20 is number 1. So I give it 1 and I call it less than 20. Add. Then my 2. Number 2 code is what? 21 to 30. So number 2 is 21 to 30. I add. Then number 3 is, so we do that same drill, 31 to 40, 41 to 50. 31 to 40, 41 to 50, and the last one is more than 50. Yes, the last one is more than 51. Then we have number 5, more than 51. So I added the age one as well, and you do the same for all of them. You can select ordinal if you want, because it is in order, but as I told you, scale is the highest level of measures that you can select. Now let's go quickly and try to do the same. You have to do all of them, so PD3, PD4, and so on and so forth, education level, income level. Then we have our first variable. The first variable is customer satisfaction, and this is very important to know. Now CS1, which is a scale, the 5-point Likert scale, you remember, right? I will open the questionnaire for you to see. You can see that the final survey questionnaire. the final survey questionnaire will have customer satisfaction, the same thing. It will have customer satisfaction, as you can see, and the customer satisfaction is a 5-point scale with 1 strongly agree and 5 strongly disagree, which we already did in the Google form as well. But this is what we are going to create in the SPSS. It is very important. So I go to SPSS and I check my first question, which is CS1. So I go to SPSS variable view. I call it CS1, and CS1 is, I keep it to 0 decimal, and CS1 is 1. This is the part that you have to focus on. So you go to your questionnaire, yeah, and you in your question you give it quotes. I'll remove the numbers for easy copying. Normally when the numbers are there, it is not that easy to copy and paste, so I remove the numbers. And now I'm going to copy this questionnaire, Control C, CS1, and I'm going to paste it in this label. So in the label I pasted this question. As you can see, a complete question is pasted by you can arrange the size, the length and the size from here. So this is CS1, the fashion brand, exactly the same question that I've taken from is CS1. So I call it CS1, then I have to give it value. Now what is value? This value can be copied. I'm going to show you easy method as well. The process have to be repeated. You can see that it is a 5-point scale. On customer satisfaction, it is a 5-point scale with 1 strongly agree. So let's do it. 1 is strongly agree. Two is agree. 3 is neutral. Is it neutral? 3 should be neutral, right? Indifferent. So 3 should be, you have to make sure that you are using the same thing. Indifferent. 4 is disagree. 5 is strongly disagree. Now my value has been created. It is a scale. You choose it as scale. So this has been nicely done. Let's do the next one, which is called CS2. So you do CS2, you copy from the original questionnaire. You can see that CS2 is this item. You choose this item of CS2. A little faster now. I'm not going to do all of them. You convert it to 0 decimals. You paste it here. Now either you have to repeat all of them. So instead of repeating, what you can do is you copy this, Control C, and you paste it here, Control V. Very nice. So automatically the label has been done in front of for me, instead of doing it all over again. So I want to go to the next. So you repeat the process. You copy all the questions from the questionnaire and you copy all the codes. So this one is suppose social media activity. Social media activity is called SMA1. Let me do the SMA1 for you as well quickly, and then we are done with our conversion part at least. So first I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the numbers, but as I told you, the numbers will create problem. This is SMA1. Let me copy the question and I will put it there and I will call it SMA1. This is my 0 numerical value. I can call it 0, then paste the item. Now either I follow the same the same scale, do it again, or I just copy from here and I paste it there. So this is how you see that. Now when you go to your data view, your spreadsheet is nicely transforming into field. So PD1, PD2, CS1, CS2, and so on and so forth. You can have as many variables. As of now, we have around 6 visible variables, and this will fill our spreadsheet. We will fill this part, and then you will do data analysis. Remember that once you are done with that, that is your task, that I'm going to see your this complete part done, your SPSS questionnaire completely created with all the variables here, and then the decimal 0, then the labels properly entered, the values properly entered, the scales properly selected, and then don't forget to save. When you click on save, it will ask you where do you want to save it. You save it, for example, on desktop, marketing research, data analysis, and you call it sample data analysis, or you name it whatever you want to name it. So I save it, nicely saved. Remember, SPSS always work in two windows. This is the window where we do all the programming, where we do all the coding. This is the data view where all the spreadsheet are there and we play with the data. But when we go to analysis, say any type of data analysis that I'm going to show you, all the data analysis will be done in this window, which is called output window, and you have to save the output window as well. So you name it and you save it as well. So let's go and we save it the same way that we saved the same way that we saved the previous one, which is called sample data analysis. So sample data analysis is done. I save it. Now these two files are nicely saved. Now this way you will create a complete beautiful template of your data, your SPSS sheet, which would be used to enter the data and which would be used for data analysis. This is the part where we will have all our data. Now where will the data come from? The data will come from your Google Forms. When you start receiving responses from respondents, Google Form will create it in the form of an Excel sheet. So you can download that Excel sheet. Let me check if I have an Excel sheet and I will show it to you, which I will give it to you people as well. Where is it? So this is the Excel sheet that that is created for the SPSS that you download. Suppose it is even in raw form, you don't see this, you only see this. What you do is the gender questions you copy from here. Of course you copy the ID and then say, I'll just do only a few ones, not all of them. You copy it from here, say the 21, and then a simple method of copying like this, and you go to your SPSS and then paste it there. You see that the first 19 or 20 items have been copied and pasted as from the Excel sheet. 19 items all together, 19 cases with the first variable, and then you do for all of them one by one. So you copy, for example, this one as well, which is the age. For example, if I have age, yes, I had age, so I'll just copy and I will put it here, and this is my age. Then I go to, for example, customer satisfaction 1. Suppose this customer satisfaction 1, I copy, and then I go to SPSS and I copy and paste customer satisfaction 1 here, and then I repeat the process. If it is in proper order, then I can actually quickly go and select customer satisfaction 1, 2, 3, 4 and all my data from the Excel sheet, copy it, and then I paste it in the SPSS sheet. So my SPSS sheet will look filled and everything will look nice. Don't forget to save it, so your data sheet will look pretty much filled and pretty good. So I want you people to have your SPSS template ready, and then the template I'm going to see, of course, the variable view, all the questions and everything is created nicely. Then I would also like to see your data view where you have created the data from Excel sheet. If you have, remember to have an extra Excel sheet always by your side. Normally if you see my files, I would always have the sample Excel sheet, and that Excel sheet may be an empty Excel sheet. I use it normally for many purposes, say the identification number 1, 2, 3 and so on. So rather than writing 1, 2, 3 on SPSS, there is no shortcut method, so you drag it. Suppose I have 20 cases and I select and I fill it. So I fill the series 20 people directly. I copy it from Excel sheet and I put it in my ID view. Suppose if I want to put 20 people in the ID view. So Excel sheet is very helpful for quickly doing things and then copy and paste it back to the SPSS. You can also copy the complete Excel sheet and create a template in SPSS as well automatically. However, in that case the variable view would be empty, so that variable you have to do it anyway. So I would normally what I personally do is I would create a template first, and totally empty template. I'll just create a empty template first, just like that, totally empty template. So that empty template, and then I will go to my Excel sheet, and then I will copy everything from there. Simply just copy. It's that easy. Copy and just paste it. That is how I do that. So this is how easy it sounds. Of course, these are variables were not created. That's why you see all these problems here. But we can always easily create from SPSS, from Excel to SPSS. So I want you to have these things ready, and once these are ready, then we will go to our next part, and that would be guiding you to screen and clean the data, guiding you towards basic data analysis, which will come inshallah in the later form of our the later practicals in the coming few weeks. The coming weeks actually we'll be doing data analysis. So SPSS sheet is ready, Excel sheet is ready, my questions are ready, my data is ready. Now I have to make sure my data do not have problems, and that is what is the next thing that I want to quickly show you. So once you copy and paste the data, it is in collecting data using Google Forms, it is comparatively easy, because there won't be any data offending data and data problems. But when you're collecting data using a hard copy face-to-face method, you will see that many a times there are errors. You can see that, for example, 12 is there, you can see that 14 is there, 13 is there. Suppose these are errors, my scale is only 1 to 5. So if your scale is 1 to 5, how come you have 12 there? So that is an error. That error have to be removed before you do the analysis, otherwise you cannot do the analysis. So there are methods which the common methods are, suppose you have only 5 scale, you quickly go and you do check the ascending and descending. So your ascending, suppose you have a 5-point scale and you see there are others, so you find out that there is a problem. You go to, for example, the descending, it tells you that these 3 are the problem, so you quickly fix it. These are not only problems. Many times when your assistants are keying in the data, they mistakenly, instead of 3, they put 33. Instead of 2, suppose 2, they put 22. So you have to quickly fix this problem. How? By quickly going in each variable and checking ascending and descending. You click on it, right click on it, check ascending, then go check descending, and you see this is a problem. So this have to be converted. Now this one is a very easy mistake. This mistake can be easily repaired. Why? Because you know that this cannot be 222, it's rather 2, and the person mistakenly clicked. But what if this is 23? Now 23 is something which is a problem. That is a bigger problem. What is the bigger problem? You know that in your scale you have 3 and you have 2. So the correct should be either 2 or 3, and you don't know. So how to solve this problem? The problem is solved through these IDs. You check that which ID is this case taken from. It is taken from ID 2. You go to your questionnaire, find out questionnaire number ID 2, and then you check if CS2 is 2 or 3. If it is 2 or 3, you already know, you correct it. Suppose it is 2, you correct it and you go ahead. Or if it is 3, you correct it and make it 3. But what if there is nothing there? Then we choose based on our own understanding. We either go for 2 or 3, anyone would be okay, or we totally delete this case. Like if you have a lot of items, if you have a lot of cases, if you have collected data from so many people, then I have the liberty to simply delete them. So I just simply delete this case number 2 altogether. So I deleted case number 2 altogether. So this is how you do your screening and cleaning. At times there are empty places. So people did not reply to your question. Your assistants are adding the data as it is. So this practice I also want you to create some empty and quickly check for screening. We call it screening and cleaning process. So this screening and cleaning process, see, there are 2 empty. These 2 cannot be used for data analysis. So you have to do something with them. What can we do? You have to either get rid of them, or you have to go to ID number 1, 2, 3. Let me put the proper IDs. I mistakenly put the wrong IDs here. So you go to your ID, for example, and you find out this empty case is on which ID. This empty case is on ID number 2. Then let's go to CS1. This empty ID is on case number 4. So either you get rid of this case, or you choose the middle one or the most common ones. So these are the methods that we do in order to screen and clean the data. These are I think so many things for this this practical. In the coming practical, I'm going to see that in the coming practical we will already have the data, and then we are going to do the basic data analysis starting from descriptive analysis. Then we will go and do some more analysis. So that is it for today. I hope that you enjoyed. I'm going to see all these things. Make sure that you are ready with all your SPSS and everything. Take care. See you. Bye.